Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to welcome everybody to the show. Today, we're going to talk about this government shutdown, and we're going to talk about what the government shutdown means, particularly for those of you that are invested or those of you that are wondering just what things are looking like right now. I believe that the government is going to shut down, even though there are some efforts last minute to try to avert a shutdown. But I'm going to talk about this a little bit, and we're going to sort of break down just this government and how it can affect your economic future. So get comfortable, buckle up your seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Please none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I am actually at the Wealth and Power Conference. I'm a keynote speaker here at this conference in Austin, Texas. So that means that I get the pleasure of dealing with crappy internet Wi-Fi. Yes, y'all know what it is. You know what happens when you stay at a hotel. The Wi-Fi is garbage. And that's why you do not get to see my face on screen today, because I have to go straight audio. So so first thing I got to do here, since I'm dealing with crappy internet Wi-Fi, is ask y'all, can y'all hear me? Can you give me a yes in the chat? Give me a quick yes to let me know that my audio is coming through okay, so that I don't have to punch a hole in the wall because the audio is bad too, in addition to because if I was doing video, y'all wouldn't even recognize me because the crappy internet Wi-Fi, crappy hotel Wi-Fi does not give you good video. But I want to make sure my audio is good. Can y'all hear me? Because it's more important than you hear me than you see me. Because then if you had to look at me, you'd be distracted by my stunning good looks. My wife tells me I'm handsome, and I just believe her because when a smart, beautiful Black woman talks to you, you got to listen. And so anyway, and there's my wife, by the way. I always feel more comfortable doing my podcast when I'm looking at my wife because she's such a pretty lady. Is she pretty? Don't you love her? Anyway, I'm being silly. Let me stop. Speaking of my wife, last night my wife and I went live to talk about this interesting topic with Tupac Shakur on drboycetv.com. We actually talked about Tupac as a $1 billion asset that he was, and how the Biggie Pac murder, most people don't talk about it this way. Most people haven't mentioned this. I've never seen it anywhere else. But the Biggie Pac murders were really a type of economic warfare. If you think about how much money Tupac was worth, how much his voice on a record would sell that record, and that converts into cash. I want you to understand that this wasn't just the loss of 2 brilliant, amazing young Black men, but it was also a version of economic warfare. And also my wife, with her being a therapist and an expert on things like trauma and conflict resolution, one of the things that we have to understand, and again, you're not going to hear this anywhere else except for the Black Business School, is that we must learn how to embrace conflict resolution skill as a form of economic preservation. Give me a yes if you understand how fighting and killing each other and kicking each other's butts and trying to destroy each other is not fertile economic soil for us to build wealth. Give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you understand why a finance professor can look at the Biggie Pac homicides and literally say, oh, that was the destruction of at least a couple $1 billion of Black wealth, where both of these $2 billion assets were killed in a situation that could have easily been avoided. And the reason I bring this up also is because this happens in a lot of your own families. A lot of y'all are fighting with your own siblings. You're fighting with your own parents. Some of you are fighting with your kids. Some of you are fighting with your cousins. And remember, these are people that if you all embraced conflict resolution skill, which many Black therapists can teach you, there are tons of Black therapists that can teach you these things. Conflict resolution skill preserves wealth, because instead of fighting with somebody, you're actually building with that person, which makes you much stronger at the end. Okay, so anyway, my wife and I discussed this last night on drboycetv.com. Also, don't forget this podcast is on Spotify. It's also on Apple. And also my wife's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. if you want to go see what she does as a therapist. She works with lots and lots of people from our community. She's kind of becoming the black man's therapist and the black woman's therapist, because a lot of you all are already seeing her directly, and so she loves talking to people. So if you want to pick up those skills, feel free to do that. All right. So anyway, let me get back to it. All right. So let's talk about this government situation, government shutdown. How many of you have heard what's been going on with the government and the fact that the government may end up collapsing again, as it always does, and it's just a complete mess. It's absolutely terrible. Congress, your politicians, that's another great destroyer of wealth in America. I think right now this capitalism thing is working out really well for the U.S. I think long term it could be an issue. I think long term we're going to experience consequences for the fact that we don't invest in our children, and also we don't really invest in our people. We don't even support labor unions anymore, and this is why you have the auto workers strike and some of the other things going on, because we don't support the things that we need to support to be a strong country. Well, this government's about to shut down again, and it looks like they're trying to avert a shutdown. But my indicators, my spidey senses tell me that there will be a shutdown. And but I'm going to read the latest to you and kind of give you a Dr. Boyce breakdown on some of this. And also, if you stick around to the end of the video, I will let you guys know a stock to buy. Some of you came in when I sent you all the profit alerts. So, and also, if you want to get those profit alerts sent to you via text, just text the word stock to 31996. You can text the word stock to 31996. All right. So here's what it says in CNBC. It says lawmakers returned to Congress on Saturday with no clear path to resolving a squabble. See, remember I told you that word squabble, fighting. When you're infighting with each other, you lose wealth. A lot of people are going to get hurt because your politicians are a bunch of 9-year-olds who happen to look like 80-year-olds, but they're 9-year-olds. They're 80-year-olds with a 9-year-old brain, and they're squabbling constantly. And these squabbles, it appears likely to close wide swaths of the federal government, according to CNBC. On the other side of the Capitol, the Democratic-controlled Senate is due to advance a stopgap funding bill, but a final vote might not come for days. Stopgap funding bill. So that's kind of like, in my view, I see that almost like an economic Band-Aid. Like, okay, we can't really solve the root problem in our society, in our government, right? The root problem is that your politicians are ridiculous. They fight each other constantly. They don't look for the middle ground. They don't look for compromise. I mean, only suckers want to compromise, right? And save the country. That makes you a simp if you actually want to work together. I mean, my gosh, why work together when you can just destroy each other and destroy your nation in the process? But basically, this squabbling is causing a lot of economic pain. And so the stopgap funding bill, not a long-term solution, it's a short-term solution, is their latest hope. They said hundreds of thousands of federal employees will lack the funding to do their jobs if the two chambers do not send a spending bill for Democratic President Joe Biden to sign into law by 12:01 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday. Now, tell me in the chat. I can't remember. What day is it again? What day? This bill has to come out by Sunday morning, 12:01. What day is it, y'all? I can't. My brain. I'm 52 now. I'm trying to remember what day it is. I got to remember what I'm speaking at the Wealth and Power Conference in Austin, Texas this week. So I think I speak on Saturday. Is today Saturday? I think today's Saturday. So 12:01 Sunday. If they don't sign this bill, the government shuts down. Lots of people are going to get hurt. Lots of black people are going to get hurt. I know lots of wealthy, black people in Prince George's County got good government jobs, making good money. Their economic security is in jeopardy, and my heart goes out to you. My heart really goes out to you, and I will tell you, the Black Business School is safe from that. One thing about the Black Business School, we just spent between $250,000 and $300,000 to prepare for the All Black National Convention. And I'm very proud to say that we do these things without any government money. I don't want money from the government. We also do this without any corporate sponsorship. And by the way, if you do want to join us, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We meet in Atlanta, October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. Millions of people have come to our conventions and loved it and participated in the things that we've done online. And we're really proud to know that without any support from any of these entities, we've been able to change the culture. We've got rappers rapping about black wealth. You've got all kinds of other movements that have popped out of this. So we're really proud of the fact that we've been doing this consistently. So if you'd like to join us in Atlanta, my wife and I will be there along with over 40 black experts. And, it's a great place to network. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And somebody said, I don't believe that. I don't believe you. I don't believe that you paid $250,000 for this convention. I said, brother, the AV alone was $76,000. That didn't include the hotels and the flights and the shipping and everything else. So these conventions are not cheap. So if you ever wonder, what are they doing with their money? When I buy a book from Dr. Boyce, what's he doing with my money? Well, this is what we're doing. We're investing in brain trust. We're investing in bringing together the smartest, most capable black people on the planet to solve problems specifically for the black community. And the thing about freedom is that freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. You got to pay somebody's got to pay the cost. If you don't pay the cost, then guess what? You get, black liberation brought to you by McDonald's. There will never be black liberation brought to you by McDonald's or Walmart or Target. Black liberation can only be brought to you by black people. If you don't pay your own bills, guess what? You get, unfortunately, the Congressional Black Caucus, which says we'll give you money as long as you vote for the person we tell you to vote for. We don't have to vote for anybody. So at the convention, we don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, independent, or whether you vote or not, gay, straight, male, female, I don't care, as long as you're black first. And all of our experts understand this, and we're here to do one thing, which is solve problems for our community. We're getting it done. We are doing it at a level no one else has done since Marcus Garvey. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com if you'd like to join us. It is real. The revolution is happening now. And millions of our people are participating. So anyway, hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share. Make sure you subscribe. And my name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So let's get back to the government shutdown. So some of you have asked me, how is the government shutdown going to affect your stocks? So what I'm going to do is kind of give you a breakdown of how it should impact the stock market. Give me a yes if you're a stock market investor. I hope you're an investor. Give me a yes. I want to get to a point. My dream, Dr. King had a dream, little white girls, little black boys holding hands. I don't dream about holding hands with a white girl. I'd rather hold hands with my wife. My dream is that one day when I say, how many of you are investing in the stock market? All of you will say yes. All of you will say yes. Why? Well, because when I was on the faculty at Syracuse University, the number one thing I remember reading in academic research was that stock market investing is the leading variable that determines the difference between what makes someone middle class and wealthy. This is the data, y'all. This is not my opinion. This is the data. This is mathematically proven. So I'm hoping that everybody says yes. If your answer is no, that's okay. We have something called a $5 a day investing plan that can get you started. Very easy to do. All you have to do is text the word stock to 31996, and I will send it to you for free. It's totally free. Text stock to 31996. You can also find it on my website, boycewatkins.com. It's so easy that a 5-year-old can do it, but it's very important that you participate in this economic situation. I talked to a sister the other day. She did a consultation with me, and I said, I think that the best way, and not even I think, I know, that even though we can't predict the future, we don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty out here. There's a lot of things we don't know about what the future holds. I said, but one thing we do know is that Microsoft will never forget how to make money. One thing we do know is that Apple and Amazon are always going to know how to make money. No matter what the economic conditions are, they're going to learn how to make money. So if you are invested in these companies, pay attention now. If you're invested in Microsoft and Apple and Amazon and some of the big corporations that are out here that are making money, then you're probably going to do well because, if you tie your boat onto their boat, then their boat is never going to sink. So it's little things like this that make a big difference in your economic survival. So I hope you'll consider that. So just go to boycewatkins.com. We can get you started. It's totally free. I just want to help you. All right. So with this situation with the government shutdown, here's what is the general consensus is in terms of what happens to the market when the government shuts down. The short answer is nothing really. I was really shocked. I did some research on this, and the data says that the stock market doesn't really react much to government shutdowns. It just doesn't. It tends to actually not only does it not go down, but it tends to actually go up a little bit, which is crazy, right? Like, because it's this massive shock economically speaking, a lot of people get hurt financially when the government shuts down. But what the stock market knows, the stock market is pretty smart. And what the stock market knows is they know the difference. It knows the difference between, you know, short-term issues and long-term issues. It doesn't respond to children fighting, on Capitol Hill. It just doesn't. And so effectively, if you look at the history, the stock market has typically not only not gone down, but it's actually gone up a little bit during the shutdowns. Now, if you get lucky enough to have a market decline during the shutdown, again, this is based on history. Nobody can predict the future. But if you get lucky enough to see the market kind of crash temporarily as a result of the announcement of a shutdown, well, that might be an investing opportunity. That might be a chance to get in there and find you a high quality company. Find you, just like I, when I met my beautiful wife, I saw this beautiful, pretty black woman, and I said, okay, that's an asset I want to invest in because she's got lots of assets, and I'm not talking about her booty, I'm talking about her brains. I'm not being stupid here. I'm kidding. Anyway, and sometimes you can make that investment in a good quality company while the price drops a little bit, right? While the market kind of is reacting to these temporary issues. I encourage you as an investor to always remember to think long term, think about the big picture. That's extremely important. So here's what it says in CNBC. They said a government shutdown looming on the horizon could dampen market sentiment to start October, even as Wall Street wraps up what's been a challenging month and quarter. Legislators are scrambling to pass spending legislation by the Saturday, September 30th deadline. If you're listening live, that's today. A failure to reach an agreement by midnight would mean a shutdown commences Sunday when government funding expires, meaning that more than 2 million civilian federal workers would be furloughed or working without pay. Now, when they work without pay, they are going to get their money. They're just not going to get it right away. So if you are in that category, again, my heart goes out to you. And I wish you the best in all of this for sure. It says many market participants expect financial markets and the economy will broadly shake off concerns from a shutdown as they have in the past. In notes earlier this month, Wells Fargo pointed out the impact of shutdowns in the past were relatively small and short-lived, while RBC Capital Markets said equity market declines tended to be rather mild. Still, a shutdown could make its impact felt the longer it lasts in such direct ways as hurting the economy's economic growth or delaying the release of traditional government economic data at an inopportune moment for the Federal Reserve. So right now, the Federal Reserve, who has been hiking up your interest rates like crazy to slow down the economy, to deal with an inflation problem, is not going to be able to get the data that they need to make firm decisions. So to some extent, they're going to be driving blindfolded for a little while. And that's a scary thing, right? And, now maybe it's not completely scary. Believe it or not, I've been doing my pilot's training. I told you guys this, and I'm going to get my pilot's license very soon. And so now I can literally, I can fly airplanes, by myself, and it's very cool. One of the parts of your pilot's training that kind of shocked me is they actually have you fly blindfolded. They actually put these things on your head. I forgot what they call it, but they block your vision, and all you can see are your instruments. All you can do is look at, the 6 instruments, the things that tell you what altitude you're flying at, what your airspeed is, stuff like that. And you can't even look outside, right? You want to talk about mortifying. It's the craziest experience ever. So to some extent, the Federal Reserve is going to be flying blind for a little bit, which is a little bit of a problem right now because it's one thing if you're flying blind, like to use the airplane analogy. It's one thing if I'm flying blind and there's no other airplanes around. It's another thing if I'm flying blind and I'm in the traffic pattern right above an airport and there's other planes in the area. In that case, I don't want to fly blind. That's very dangerous. So right now, this is the issue that's going on. The Federal Reserve can't get its data because this data comes out of the government. So to some extent, they're making decisions a little bit blind. Also, if this shutdown is prolonged, if they can't come to a compromise and the government stays shut down, well, that's going to have a huge impact all throughout the economy. That's going to last quite a while. So the question, according to Rob Harworth, which I agree with, is that it's about the duration of the shutdown that's really sort of critical. He says the market's probably going to set it aside until or unless it starts to have a larger impact on behaviors. On Friday, the major averages wrapped up a losing month for the quarter. The economic impact. Historically, government shutdowns have been relatively short-lived, though they have been longer and more disruptive recently because your government's being run by a bunch of 9-year-olds. The October 2013 shutdown resulted in a 0.3% point hit to gross domestic product in the fourth quarter of that year, according to a note from the Bureau of Economic Analysis. The 2018-2019 shutdown that lasted 35 days, the longest on record, hurt real GDP roughly the same. To be sure, in both instances, that direct hit to GDP soon washed out and rebounded when federal employees returned to work, according to a note from Wells Fargo economist Michael Pugliese. So one of the things that does happen is there could be this chance that there could be a decline in stocks because everyone's sort of shocked by the shutdown. And also a further decline could occur if the shutdown keeps going on and on and on and on and on. But then there could be a pop in stock prices once the shutdown ends. So if you are a person that believes the shutdown will eventually come to an end, that this too shall pass, then it could be a buying opportunity as you see the market kind of panic and react to what could otherwise be seen as temporary information. However, I encourage you to be very careful about assuming that the stock market is stupid. One of the things I learned after reading thousands of research papers and writing a bunch of them when I was on the faculty of Syracuse University is that the stock market is much smarter than you think. And so information that you think that you have that the rest of the market does not have is either your personal speculation or it's information that has been factored in that you just didn't know was factored in. Right. So this is what they call market efficiency. Market efficiency is one of the most significant theories in all of finance, which basically says that when you get millions of investors that are analyzing millions of pieces of information every single day, it's hard to find that information that everyone else doesn't have. Right. So as much as I wish I could tell you what's going to happen for certain, the truth is that I've studied this stuff enough to know that you can't know as much as you think you might know, right? So it's a matter of really sort of choosing where do I want to lay my chicken's eggs, and how is this going to work out for me if things don't go the way I expect them to? Okay, so again, that's my 2 cents on the issue. I don't think the shutdown is going to be entirely disruptive to the economy, although there are some long-term effects and factors that really do concern me. All right, so anyway, do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Just a reminder, this podcast is on Spotify and Apple. So if you go to Spotify and Apple, look up my name, Boyce Watkins. You can find me there. In addition to that, my new book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. It's a bestseller. Thank you all for supporting the book. It's basically a layout of cultural principles that will create wealth in the Black community, that will allow Black people to understand the secrets of economic power that wealthy families understand. One thing that people don't get, and we often forget, and we've never learned in some cases, is how important family is to wealth. It's really almost impossible for the Black community to become a wealthy community when we are overly committed to the idea of broken families. Broken families can't compete with families that have a strong structure. There's a family in India, or not India, I'm sorry. So let me reverse what I just said. I was on an airplane yesterday when I was flying down to Austin for the Wealth and Power Conference down in Austin, Texas. And I happened to sit next to a guy from India who is he is the chair of the computer science department at the University of Texas. And in case you don't know, that's a really hard job to get. So I knew immediately this guy was very, very smart. And we talked for a while. And I only talked to him because I looked at his laptop and I saw some math equations on his screen that I hadn't seen since grad school. And I said, "Oh, are you a mathematician?" And we talked about what he did. But anyway, one of the things that he agreed with me on, and we talked about this because he asked me what I do, and I told him, I said, yeah, we have this thing called the Black Business School. I was on the faculty of Syracuse University. This is what I do. This is my passion. And I started talking to him about the barriers to Black wealth and all the things that we've unearthed in our studies. And I said, this is the one problem I'm seeking to solve. This is what I've dedicated my life to. And one thing that we discussed is family structure and the difference in terms of how he in India grew up thinking about family and how important family was in terms of making your success contagious, right? How literally trying to accomplish some of these things that we're trying to accomplish without being serious about rebuilding family, how that's so hard to do. It's almost like trying to win a basketball game when you don't have a basketball team. You cannot win a basketball game without a basketball team. You cannot win a basketball game with a basketball player. And a lot of us think that we can take a basketball player to a basketball game and defeat a basketball team. A family is a basketball team. Single parents, a lot of us out here. I mean, don't get me wrong, it hits everybody, but we're basketball players trying to beat entire teams. So what I tell folks is one thing in general is figure out who your teammates are going to be. Sometimes God deals us an ugly hand. My father was not there when I was born. I've had relationships fall apart that could have been beneficial to me. But at the same time, I found wonderful teammates who are like-minded people, and they just happen to be my brother from another mother, or my sister from another mister, who basically just saw the I do. And I encourage you to look for those people. So this is why we created the All Black National Convention, so you could find your people. So feel free to go to allblacknationalconvention.com. We meet October 20th in Atlanta at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. Victory Boyd from Rock Nation is going to, and her family, they're going to perform again this year. You guys loved that family. It's an amazing B1 family that's famous. They're known all around the world now because they're so good at what they do. Victory is so good that she sang for Jay-Z, and Jay-Z signed her on the spot. He literally signed her on the spot because her voice was so angelic and beautiful. And the crazy thing is that she has two sisters that sing as well as she does, and two brothers that are extremely talented. So this family is going to be performing at this year's All Black National Convention. I'm very proud of that. And it's also a great place to meet people. It's an awesome family reunion. So allblacknationalconvention.com. And also for my book, if you go to boycewatkins.com or drboycebooks.com, you can get a copy of my book. I hope you'll feel free to take a look. All right, so let me summarize this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a stock that I like that you can carry away, and you can decide if you want to invest or not. I don't give investing advice here, but I do tell you what I'm invested in. So I'll share that with you in a second. All right, so let's finish up on the shutdown and what the shutdown likely means for investors and also for the economy. Now, one thing that they also mentioned here, I'm reading this article on CNBC. They said that while the shutdown affects government workers, it would also delay payments for government contractors. That leads to a bigger ripple effect all throughout the economy, resulting in a loss of some economic activity the longer it takes to restore operations. What's more is it could hurt consumer sentiment. Consumer sentiment is basically how confident consumers feel spending their money, right? So if you think about this, give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Does a government shutdown make you a little bit nervous about spending money? Yes or no? Does the government shutdown make you wonder how the economy is going to do long term? Yes or no? Like, does it affect you? If you're going out and you're thinking about buying a new car or buying a new refrigerator or whatever, does the government shutdown sort of make you feel like, okay, maybe we're on shaky ground. Maybe I need to save my money. Maybe I need to be a little bit more careful. What do you think? Yes or no? A lot of people say yes, right? So this is what you call consumer sentiment. When consumers start getting scared, that slows down economic activity. So this is another area in which the government shutdown could impact the economy. So it says here, quote, I think the most direct impact will be kind of an uncertainty premium, and I'll explain what that means in a minute, being put in the market. That typically means lower price earnings multiples, maybe higher fixed ratios, higher volatility, maybe some flight to safety, some demand for treasuries, says banks, U.S. banks, Hayworth. That's how the market will try and accommodate the uncertainty. So the operative word in that statement right there is uncertainty. That's the operative word. And what uncertainty does, according to nearly every financial model in the universe, because that's where these stock prices come from. There are equations and formulas we learned that tell you what the price of an asset should be. That's how I was able to tell you that Tupac and Biggie were billion-dollar assets, because you can literally value Tupac and Biggie's economic impact the same way you could value them if they were stocks. You really could. Or Diddy, who unfortunately Diddy needs to watch out, because a lot of people are suspicious of him right now because he's connected to the guy that got arrested. But we'll talk about that later. Don't forget, I'm not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So I kept up with all this stuff. But anyway, so what happens is that uncertainty can reduce the value of an asset because there's additional risk. And in economics, there is a relationship between the risk of an asset and the reward of the asset. So typically what they're basically saying is that because the market is facing so much uncertainty, that indicates risk. And risk tends to pull down the value of assets, which inherently is supposed to increase the amount of return that you get, the ROI you receive if everything works out okay. Right. So effectively, it's like if you go buy a car and the car is $20,000 and someone says, well, there's a 50% chance this car is going to break down in the next 2 years. You might still buy the car, but you might only pay $15,000, right? Because you're taking an additional risk. So you reduce the price so that if the car does work out it's going to turn into a really great deal, right? You're going to be like, wow, I only paid $15,000 for this car and it worked out really well. But you also know what you're getting into, right? So that risk reduces the price, which also reduces the reward if everything works out okay, right? So effectively, that's what they're saying about this government shutdown, that the risk of the shutdown, the risk of what could go wrong, the reduction in consumer sentiment, all of the stress and concern that might reverberate throughout the economy is going to cause, or could cause theoretically, stock prices to temporarily decline, which if you are about that life, if you like a little bit of risk in your portfolio, a chance to make some money, then this might be a chance to go ahead and invest. But you have to be careful, because the thing about risk is that risk is very risky. The thing about risk is that risk does not always work out well. When you invest, you must always understand that there's a chance that you could lose money instead of make money. So never ever make the mistake of believing that every investor is balling out of control and constantly making money. That is simply not true. People that invest are people that are willing to take the ups and the downs, because the long term, the ups tend to outweigh the downs, and that's how you end up making your money. It's a long term play. It's a big sort of a big picture kind of thing. It's not something where you're always going to make money every single time you invest. So if you're a person who cannot tolerate or stomach the idea of losing money, then you should probably invest in something super safe, like treasury bills, where it's going to be really boring. You're not going to make a ton of money, but you know that your money is very, very safe. Okay, give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying, so we can move on. And I'm going to give you guys a stock pick that I like right now. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Some of you have asked how to meet with me directly or do private consultations, things like that. I do some limited stuff like that. So feel free to email Chanel@BoyceWatkins.com. Chanel is spelled with a C and it's one N and two L's. So Chanel@BoyceWatkins.com. Send her an email if you want me to come to your church and do a stock options training or something like that. I like to do stuff like that every now and then. So feel free to reach out to Chanel if that's something that interests you. All right. So the stock that I like today is Nike. Nike's ticker symbol is NKE. Nike is a company that, according to analysts, is poised to do well in the future. Now, remember, with investing, Warren Buffett has a saying that if you can't own a stock for 10 years, you shouldn't own it for 10 minutes. So that means that when I tell you guys about stocks that I like, it is because I see them as good long-term investments. And I'll tell you what, Nike is a quality company. Right now, there appears to be a little bit of underpricing possibly there. Again, this is debatable, but based on my research, Nike is a good place to put some money right now. So feel free to take a look at Nike. This is not investing advice, but this is something that I'm going to invest in myself. All right, guys. So anyway, please hit that thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm going to head on out of here. And don't forget, my wife and I on drboycetv.com, we did that analysis on Biggie and Tupac last night in terms of conflict resolution and the economic loss that occurs in the Black community when we have folks that are committed to killing each other, and how this hip hop music industry, which is owned by people who are not Black, was built around sort of destroying Black wealth, destroying Black families, destroying the futures of our kids. And it makes me sad. In fact, I know a lot of rappers. I know a lot of famous rappers, the most famous out here, Kanye and guys like that. I've sat on the phone with these guys for a long time. And the more I know about the hip hop music industry, the more I feel like it's a curse. If you become a successful rapper, honestly, I don't think it's a blessing. I think it's a curse. A lot of the rappers that I know, they got to worry about somebody killing them, or they're mixed in a toxic culture that's very anti-family, anti-wealth, anti-health, more likely to kill you at an early age. I mean, if you look at how many rappers die young, it's very, very sad. And so it's unfortunate that we've been convinced to kind of glorify culture that's really killing us. I'm not comfortable with the idea that we have people who are not Black that are paying people to call us the N word and the B word. And we love that. Like, we really like that stuff. And I just don't, it's very confusing to me. And I also think it's, if you look at the standard messaging that's really coming out of hip hop in general, not all rappers, but some of them, in terms of drug use, disrespect of women, financial irresponsibility, sexual irresponsibility, all of these things are anti-wealth. So if you want to know my 2 cents, I believe that the hip hop music industry just owes Black people reparations. The people that own these big record labels that have made hundreds of billions of dollars destroying us, they should be writing big checks too, because this culture you've been pushing throughout our community is not something that our people ask for. And I encourage you to consider that when someone asks you why is black wealth going down. That guy, I told you, I met that computer science professor on the airplane from India, and we were just talking about what I do, and he was very interested in what I did, and I was interested in what he did, and one thing that he and I talked about was just hip hop, and he said, I don't, he said, honestly, I admit I don't understand some of the messages that come out, and I feel like they're very harmful and disrespectful. And I agree with him 100%. I think that we have to really look around and figure out what it is that's causing our people to not get what we deserve and get where we need to go. And it's going to require some hard work. It's going to require us to be courageous enough to speak up on things that that might make people think you're a hater or a simp or a punk or a jerk. I don't care about any of that stuff. All I care about is winning. And I know what winners look like, and I know what losers look like, and I don't want to be a loser. So everybody in here, I congratulate you for being courageous enough to hear the ideas that are here. I don't ask you to agree with me. You have complete freedom of thought and expression. But at the end of the day, we've got to turn over every rock. We've got to do the hard work. We've got to analyze situations in ways that don't fit into somebody's box of political correctness, because that's the only way we are going to find a solution to these problems. If we do not do this, then we will have the same problems 50 years from now that we have right now. And I ain't going out like that. I don't know about y'all. So RIP to Tupac. My wife and I did our analysis earlier about that and conflict resolution, everything else. Feel free to go take a look at that at drboycetv.com. Also, I hope you'll join us. My wife will be at the All Black National Convention with us October 20th in Atlanta. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And as I mentioned to you guys, I wasn't making it up when I said it cost us over $250,000 to do this. I'm very proud that we did this without any corporate sponsorship. We're not talking to big corporations or anything like that. We small black businesses, we will allow them to be a part of it, but we don't go to the Bank of Americas and the Targets and the McDonald's and all that, because we know that they will restrict what we're able to do and the people that we're able to invite and the things we're able to say. So we did this on our own. We also don't take any government money. So we pulled this $250,000 out of the coffers of what we're doing in the Black Business School. And we made that investment to bring together the brain trust that our community needs. I got the best black experts in every field, from politics to relationships to how to raise your children, to education, to economics. Of course, we got you covered completely in the economic categories. And they're there solving problems specifically for black people. I'm super proud of that, and I'm super honored that by those of you who have supported this, and I share this openly because I want you to know what's happening with this money. Like when I say, hey, this we're doing this course and here's the cost, or here's a book you can buy. I know we give away a lot of things for free, but we can't do everything for free because we're in a battle. We're in a war, just like Ukraine got $120 billion from the United States, $120 billion to fight their war against Russia. They know they can't win their war without money. They know they can't win their war without financial support. So the same thing is true here. We're not Ukrainian. I don't have the privilege of being white, but I am a black man who believes deeply in what I do. Y'all seen this consistently. I'm not just saying it. I've proven it. I hope. I've done over 20,000 conversations with you in the last decade about black wealth and black wealth only and black family and all these other things. And the same way the Ukrainians needed $120 billion to win their war, we can win our war. We don't need $120 billion to win it. We've been able to win it with a few $1,000,000, but that $20 million that we've raised over the last 7 or 8 years, we have pumped that right back into this fight, this battle. And you are seeing evidence everywhere, all throughout the world, where we're winning this war. You've seen it. We go to London and people show up in London. We go all around the globe. And there are millions of you out here right now who can say, and I'm very proud of this, who can say, I got started with Black Wealth because of something that happened in the Black Business School. So, I share this openly. I don't talk about this stuff very often, but I'm sharing this with you guys directly to let you know that when we ask for support, if you've got the ability to help us get this done, just know that it will not be in vain. We will fight on the front lines. I will do this fight until I die. We've got a bunch of soldiers that are ready to go at it. A lot of you are fighting with your families, and I applaud you because I can guarantee you, intelligent black people and their children and their grandchildren by the year 2070 are going to run the world in a generation or two. It's going to take time. This is not fly by night. This is not a weekend warrior kind of thing. This is not something that happens overnight. This is not about fast money. This is about the slow, meticulous, consistent effort required to build sustainable power and the kinds of institutions that can change the entire world. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be the smartest people in the room. It's just going to take time. So feel free to join us at All Black National Convention. allblacknationalconvention.com is where you can learn more. And I appreciate those of you who are going on this journey with us. You are so invaluable. I love you so much. You are 100% precious to me, and God bless all of you. So I'm going to get on out of here. I'm talking a lot, and I get emotional when I talk about it because I believe in the dream that much, and I know that we're going to win this battle. So thank you all for being a part of this, and thank you all for helping us to win this war. All right. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get on out of here. God bless you. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you'd like to get those profit alerts sent to you via text, just text the word stock to 31996. And also, just a reminder, also, you guys know we have we actually invested in a Black-owned social media platform. Right now it's called Blag Enough. We're actually going to change the name. We're going to brand it as B1 Nation instead of Blag Enough. But right now, if you go to blagenough.com, you can join. And there's about 60,000 of you on Blag Enough. And it's a great way to connect and meet with people who are like-minded. We don't let everybody in. That's why we ask you 3 questions before you can get in. And if you don't answer the questions right, we do not let people in. We don't want any foolishness, any chaos, any ridiculousness. We only want positive thinking people who want to actually solve problems, who actually want to do better, who want our community to win. So if that's you, then feel free to go to blagenough.com. All right. So I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. Thank you so much for listening. And I will see you all really, really soon. I'm about to go run with my wife, and I'll talk to you guys a little bit later. Love you. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.